Hey, hello, and welcome to today's The Way Forward in Your Career. And today we're talking about stories. And the reason that we're talking about stories is because, your mind is a sponge. So much of what you have picked up that you believe that influences your thoughts, your decisions, comes from when we were little and the stories that we heard, the things that we saw, what we noticed, what we observed, and how we felt about it. And not to get too touchy feely, it has an impact. So your mind is a sponge. Your mind soaks up things and it stores it away, and you're not even aware of what it may be keeping. So stories have power, and stories are a way that we can meet people, places. And so, as I share some of the stories today, you may see yourself in those stories because they just kind of open the gap, and other people can see themselves there. So, when you were little, what you noticed about career. So, that's the theme this week. That's what I've been posting about. So, what are your stories around career? Are they something that are helping you, moving you forward, or are they something maybe that are holding you back without even realizing it? Because 95% of your thinking is unconscious. You don't even know that it's happening. It is, um, you know, thoughts, it is decisions, it is actions, it is behaviors, it is beliefs, all kind of going on behind the scenes, and you're not even aware of it. So, because so much of what we think is unconscious, you don't even realize what from the past may be showing up in your future today. So, for instance, if 95% of your thinking is unconscious, which it is, that means that you're having thoughts that you don't even know that you're having. But that means that you are also making decisions based on thoughts that you don't know that you're having. And then you are taking action based on decisions, based on thoughts you don't even know you're having. So it can have a real profound impact. And especially when it comes to career. So, what were the stories that you grew up with? And how are they shaping you today? Are they moving you forward? Did they support you? Or are they somewhat holding you back? So I want to share some stories that some of my friends and clients and people that I know have shared with me to see if any of these sound familiar to you. So I have one friend from Florida, and she said that when she was little and doing homework, that her mom would help her with homework, and that she was really particular, the little girl, about how much paper she used when she was doing her homework, because she really didn't want to waste it. Of course, that could have been a story from somewhere else. But her mother's response was almost immediate and very firm. I will buy you a truckload of paper if that's what it takes to be successful. So this particular gal had a supportive story that other people had her back and other people would help her, and that you could always get resources. Another woman that I know, and her message when she was growing up was, you do well in school, okay? You go to a good college, you do well in college, you get a job, you work hard, and then you retire. And it's kind of like, retire, so that everything is working up to retirement, but it's not really as much about the career. Another person shared with me from Kansas, and she said that she had a couple of stories that she shared with me, because I've been asking people about their stories all week. And so many people have been generous just sharing what it is that they've experienced. And she said there were two particular stories. And one of the stories was about her aunt. And her aunt had gone to college and gotten a good job and traveled extensively, rose up in the organization, but she never married. She never had children. And so even though it was the aunt's decision, kind of what was conveyed and what this woman had picked up was that, wow, career. You either have a career and you're successful in career, or you have a family. It was an either or message. It wasn't an and message. And of course, even today, growing up in a different environment, knowing that as a man or a woman or however you self-identify, that you can have a family and have a career. And, we're finally starting to move into that direction. But that may not have been the story that we grew up with, and that is kind of still playing a role in our beliefs and our decisions. The other story that she shared with me was about her father, who grew up in a very prominent organization in her community, actually a global organization, and worked really hard. And the company moved to the second generation, and the second generation who took over the family business treated it like a family business. Third generation, kind of not so much. Treated it more like a business, and some practices that really didn't fit with the culture started to seep in. Things started to change, and ultimately, it had a profound effect on her father that was a negative effect for her. And so kind of the message that she picked up that she didn't even realize was that, big corporations will chew you up and spit you out, that they're not kind. And so, she moved into nonprofit work. She does amazing work with nonprofits. And maybe when you dig under that a little bit, it could have been the story with her father that kind of guided her in that direction, even without her knowing about it. Another person that I know shared that in her family, it was working hard, that it was, you put your all, you put your effort into it. And then on the weekend, you blow off steam. But maybe you blow off steam and it's not exactly in a healthy way, either for you as an individual or for your family, that you have to put so much of who you are into the business or into work during the week. And then you get to exhale on the weekend. So again, an either or sort of situation. Another gal that I know who grew up in New York and now is in the Florida area, she shared, because her family was an immigrant family, that almost it was the pressure of living the American dream, but it was kind of not forced, but put upon the children, so that, you will have good grades, you will have the right friends, you will go to college, you will do well, you will get a good job. And there was a certain amount of pressure that came with that. And perfectionism, because if you performed well, then you got, you got the attention and you got the recognition. So, falling into that cycle of perfectionism. She also said that because of being an immigrant family, they didn't always feel like they belonged, or she didn't always feel like she belonged. And because there was kind of that separateness, it was that, because I don't fit in, I've got to hustle. I've always got to be aware. I've always got to be looking at the opportunities. It's a struggle. It's a grind. I got to move fast so that I can find the opportunities. And it was that sort of mindset where you're always kind of pushing and never really allowing. And, even my youth, I remember my dad calling off of work a lot. And so, when I dug into this, it was, he didn't want to go to work, but he had to go to work. And when it became too much, he would have my mother call him off. She would have to call in and say, oh, he's not feeling well today. And that made her feel horrible, because she knew that he wasn't really sick. Well, long story short, he was undiagnosed manic depressive. And, but I didn't know that as a kid. So, you kind of pick up on those messages. And even I remember when I was little, my mom wanted to go get a job. And my dad was like, absolutely not. I provide for my family. So, even though it's not the world that we live in today, those kinds of stories that we picked up when we were little can still have an effect as to how we get to where we want to go in career, how easy it is, how effortless it can be for us to move toward what we want, or Do we find ourselves in a place where we think work is a grind, that we think that we have to trade satisfaction in our job for security, the security of a paycheck? Is it, I have a good job, so I should be happy? That was a trap I fell into in my corporate career. I had a job and people would tell me all of the time how lucky I was to have this job. And man, I didn't feel it. I didn't feel lucky. It just didn't feel like me. And there was a pressure that came with that. So, if you find yourself thinking, I'm just not lucky in work, things happen and everything falls apart. I'm not getting to where I want to go fast enough. It's not happening the way I want it to. I'll never get to where I want to go. Take a breath, okay? Because there may be some other things that are coming into play. And so dig under that a little bit. Are there some stories that you may have picked up when you were little? And this is what they end up being. So especially for women and emerging leaders that I serve to help them advance in their career, if they've got that question mark in their brain, it could be that a limiting belief has come into play. And a lot of times that's what these stories are. We hear things and see things and pick up on things and develop these beliefs. And what they are limiting beliefs. So like other negative emotions like anger or sadness and things like that, they only run part-time. So you get mad at somebody, probably for a good reason, but then you get over it. So that anger only runs part-time. But limiting beliefs are so much more powerful because they run full-time. And what happens is that you make a decision as a result of what's going on, what you're picking up on. And every time that decision gets reinforced, it gets more solidified until it becomes a belief, a full-time belief that's running in the background. So what can you do about these stories, as I've been telling some of the ones from today that may be occurring to you? What can you do about them? So how do you deal with these stories? How do you deal with these negative beliefs? So to make it simple, I have a phrase that I share with my clients and my audiences, and that is catch it, challenge it, change it. So whenever you become aware of a story or something that may be holding you back, something that may be triggering you and making it more difficult to get what you want out of your career and your life, then being aware of it is the first step, and that is huge. It may not seem like much, but that is huge because then you've automatically pulled yourself out of the past into the present, and you have the ability to make a different decision. So good job. The second part of it is to challenge it. How do you know this is true? Is work really a grind? Do you believe that even if it's at some small level, it's either a family or it's my career, I can't have both? Is that in fact true? So dig into it. Is it factual? Are there other people that do it? How do they do it? Can you make it true for you? So really question and challenge it. Give it a hard time. And then finally change it. So when you change it, you just simply think about, what do I want instead? What could be out in front of me? That I have a career where I can have a family and be fulfilled in my career. That I can have a career where I enjoy what I do and it's not a grind to go to work. That you can have a career that is fulfilling and it doesn't mean that you have to sacrifice to get it. That just because you have a good job, if it's not the right fit for you, that you do have the ability to make a different decision. So catch it, challenge it, change it is a tool that you can use to help get out from under these limiting beliefs. And if you find that a story is significant and maybe you're feeling bad about it, you might need to do some forgiveness work. So I did a live last week. The theme last week was forgiveness. You may have to go back and do the forgiveness process in order to get to a place where you can let go of that story and forgive the person or persons who helped to put that into your brain. So catch it, challenge it, change it. So now I just wanted to leave you with this. I have something special that I am putting together. It's going to be coming out this fall. And if you are a woman or emerging leader and you've got a question mark about what is next, in my life or in my career, because where you're at is not where you want to be, then I would love to share this with you. It is really about you uncovering, taking this time for yourself and uncovering what could be next for you and getting really clear on what that means for you, not for anybody else, to have that ability to know the decisions that you want to make and experience the freedom of choosing in favor of yourself to create a career and a life that is by design, your design. So if this is something that you might be interested in, I would love to share this with you and see if it might be a fit for you. You can go to claritywithdebbie.com. So www.claritywithdebbie.com. Grab some time on my calendar, and I would love to share this with you because I'm so excited about it. I see it being just a tremendous benefit for people who really want to get clear on what is next for them. So with that, I am Debbie Peterson of Getting to Clarity, and I work to help advance women and emerging leaders by helping them create the roadmap to their career, the next level, or perhaps the next chapter, and giving them the tools to achieve it. So until the next time, here is wishing you the clarity you deserve. Have a really great day, and I'll see you next week at 11. Bye-bye for now. Take care.